Although Novak Djokovic may have hoped to play a full schedule in 2023, it appears that his hopes have already been severely dashed. What is the reason for this? The former world number one makes a return to the Australian Open in hopes of a 10th win. But how will the Australian people receive Djokovic? Watch this video for full details. First up, after defeating Rafael Nadal at the 2019 Australian Open, Novak Djokovic reflected on his proudest memories. 2019's Australian Open saw Novak Djokovic surpass his idol Pete Sampras by winning his 15th major title. Novak lost a set to Daniil Medvedev and Denis Shapovalov on his route to the quarterfinals before stepping up the pace. Rafael Nadal's most horrific loss in a major final occurred when Novak Djokovic defeated him 6-3, 6-2, 6-3 to win the Australian Open for the 7th time in as many finals. When questioned about the match, Novak recalls being pleased with himself for defeating Rafael by performing flawlessly in front of such a renowned champion. Nadal appeared to be in fantastic form to win the Australian Open for the first time in 10 years before the title match. He had not dropped a set and had only encountered 2 breaks in 6 games. Djokovic dominated Nadal starting in Beijing that year, winning all 16 of their matches and extending the advantage to 28-25 after Melbourne. Because the Serb was in control from the first point to the last, Nadal was powerless in the face of his incredible display. Novak controlled the tempo with excellent hitting from both wings that opened the court and pushed the Spaniard outside of his comfort zone. Rafael was in trouble since he could not power his shots to gain free points against the wall on the other side of the net. Like many times before, Nadal struggled to maintain speed or momentum while Djokovic could endure all-day forehand to backhand exchanges. Up next, on Novak Djokovic's time in Australia, Jakub Menšík offers his thoughts. Novak fell to 5th place in 2022 after missing 2 majors, 2,000 points at Wimbledon, and 4 Masters 1000 events. The Serb could not participate in the Australian Open because of his early season appearances in Dubai and Monte Carlo. The lack of form in matches was not the cause of the outcomes. In the Belgrade Championship, Novak lost to Andrei Rublev before leveling up in May last year. After losing a match to Carlos Alcaraz in Madrid, Djokovic won his 38 Masters 1000 championship in Rome to gain momentum for Roland Garros. The Serb lost a spectacular, almost 4-hour-long encounter against Rafael Nadal in the quarterfinals, which cost him the title and made him famous at Wimbledon. Novak won his 7th Wimbledon championship and 21st major championship after defeating Nick Kyrgios. He raised the trophy, but also suffered a personal loss of 2,000 points. To earn his 3rd ATP title in 2022, Novak overcame Marin Cilic in Tel Aviv. The Serbian won the ATP 500 tournament in Astana a week later by defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas and Daniil Medvedev. Novak came into the Paris Masters as the favorite in search of his 7th triumph in the French capital. Jakub Menšík, who finished 2nd in the boys singles competition at the 2022 Australian Open, talked about Djokovic and wished him success. Jakub expressed his delight after learning that Novak could participate in one of the most prestigious Grand Slam events. Jakub asserted that at the beginning of last year, Novak encountered difficulties there. He continued by saying that he would be giving him good vibes and cheers from afar. Also, Novak Djokovic makes a change to his team ahead of the Australian Open. After Djokovic's reluctance to receive the COVID-19 vaccination proved a public uproar and the Australian authorities decided to expel the Serbian from the country, his visa to enter Melbourne was revoked. It has come to light that Djokovic is no longer working with physio Ulisses Badio. Since 2017, Badio has been a significant figure in Djokovic's inner circle. However, Claudio Zamaglia has taken his place. The Djokovic squad has undergone a significant transformation, with Badio credited with aiding the Serbian following his elbow issues in 2017. He also played a pivotal role in Djokovic's recovery from what was later described as an abdominal muscle tear sustained during the Australian Open match against Taylor Fritz in 2021. Djokovic not only won the match despite suffering a major injury, but also went on to win 4 more games to claim the title. Djokovic said that he had an MRI at the time, and the results revealed a tear. People questioned whether or not there was a tear, and he could understand why they did. He said he would let the medical professionals and physical therapists confirm it, but it was undoubtedly a huge challenge for him. He said it was an oblique abdominal muscle strain, so he could immediately feel the snap. He knows that there have been numerous theories and denials, but everyone has the right to criticize. At times, he thought it was a little unfair. It took a lot of mental effort for Djokovic to narrow his attention to the things he had to do to compete. Djokovic said they made an effort not to discuss what was reported in the media, but it's difficult to avoid, adding that he doesn't need it. He added that it seems unfair for some people to make assumptions before researching. According to Djokovic, it has happened before and probably won't be the last time. However, he refused to let that affect how he performed, and he got the title as a result. He added that he has developed a thick skin over the years and is focused on what matters to him. Badio made headlines when he was caught on camera pouring a drink for Djokovic at the Paris Masters competition last November. Although there was no evidence that Djokovic used any banned substances during his semi-final match, his team's decision to cover Badio from the camera as he mixed the drink caused a media controversy. Now that Badio has departed the Djokovic camp, the 21-time Grand Grand Slam winner will undoubtedly be questioned about this development when he meets with the media in Adelaide before his first match on Australian soil in 2 years. In the battle to capture the most major trophies in tennis history, Djokovic is the overwhelming favorite to win another Australian Open title as he tries to tie Rafael Nadal's 22 Grand Slam victories. Up next, Novak Djokovic faces a huge blow as the latest COVID restrictions are put in place. The 20-time Grand Slam champion had a difficult year in 2022, beginning with his deportation from Australia due to his refusal to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. When he was denied entry into North America, he lost out on the chance to play in some major tennis competitions, including the US Open and 4 Masters 1000 competitions. It was anticipated that Djokovic would be able to play a full schedule in the upcoming calendar year, but the most recent COVID travel limitations issued by the US government indicate that he may have significant difficulties then. Unvaccinated travelers are now prohibited from entering America, and the most recent developments surrounding COVID in China have a negative impact on the possibility of this law altering. The abrupt conclusion of Beijing's zero-COVID policy triggered an increase in instances, prompting the United States to announce new sanctions alongside Italy, India, Taiwan, South Korea, Malaysia, and Japan. The current worry about the transmission of novel variations also makes it unlikely that any plans to relax the current restrictions on unvaccinated passengers will be made. The following are the current rules for foreigners entering the United States. All travelers visiting the United States must provide documentation proving they have had the full COVID-19 vaccination. There are very few exceptions to this rule. It is unknown why Djokovic would want an exemption as he prepares to travel to America to compete in the Indian Wells and Miami Masters tournaments in the spring. The Serbian attempted to enter Australia last year after receiving a waiver since he had COVID a few weeks before arriving. It remains to be seen whether Djokovic will attempt to obtain similar exemptions to enter America next spring and again for next summer's US Open, assuming restrictions are still in place. However, that story unraveled shortly after his arrival. Following his arrival in Adelaide, Djokovic reflected on his troublesome former trip to Australia, saying one can't forget those occurrences. It's one of the things someone remembers. Djokovic said it follows the person throughout his entire life. He said that although it's something he has never experienced before and hopefully won't experience again, it was a worthwhile learning experience for him. He added that he has to move on, and his decision to return to Australia reflects his feelings about playing there. Djokovic is a heavy favorite to win the Australian Open for the 10th time, but he may have to take a lengthy break from the court afterward, since he might not be able to compete in the important American tournaments before the European clay court season. Up next, Djoker concerned about the Aussie crowd after the deportation saga. According to Tennis Australia CEO Craig Tiley, Novak Djokovic, who was arrested and expelled from Australia a year ago, is worried about how the Australian fans would respond to him. Even though Australia's border regulations have subsequently altered and permitted Djokovic to return, Tiley told Channel 9 that the former world number 1 was unsure of how the fans will react to his attempt to win a 10th Australian Open championship. Tiley said Djokovic would be anxious about that, as any athlete would be, and they have talked about a potential unfavorable crowd reaction. But as a player, he's just doing the best he can in the situation. He is held in high regard as a player and an athlete for the accomplishments he has made and is making in the game. Tiley believes that the Australian people and community value that. Djokovic said that what happened a year ago was certainly not easy for him, his family, or anyone else close to him, and it's disappointing to leave the country in that way. He added that he always felt fantastic in Australia and has shown a lot of support and played his best tennis there, so hopefully he can have another fantastic summer. The 35-year-old is currently rated number 5 worldwide after being barred from competing in some tournaments due to his vaccination history. Additionally, he could not defend his Wimbledon ranking points after the ATP and WTA stripped the competition of them in response to the All England Club's decision to ban Russian and Belarusian players who had not provided signed statements condemning Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. With the Australian Open set to start in mid-January, we all anticipate the kind of reaction Novak Djokovic will get. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!